Our path of looking at the core nodes, today I'm going to be looking at the loop node. So this one is going to be super important as you continue developing more complex workflows where you're taking in more data, more items to process. The loop basically allows you to send them off through the rest of your logic one by one, and then it will come back and grab the next one, process it all the way, come back, grab the next one, process it all the way. And so when you would want to typically look at using a loop node is when you have a ton of items that you want to process and it's going to do the same thing. Um, you may even want to use a loop node if you start to experience errors like if you're sending off a request and it's saying something like too many requests received and you're getting like a 400 error, then maybe you want to send them over one by one rather than all 500 because of like rate limitings with different APIs. It's just going to keep the process a little more efficient, less overwhelming for whatever service you're trying to hit. So, like in the example of, let's say you have a Excel spreadsheet with 100 emails that you want to contact. Instead of sending all 100 emails to an agent that's going to write an email for each one, very personalized, and then it's going to send all of those 100 emails down the line to a send email node, that sort of thing. It would basically just, look at your Excel sheet. It would grab row one, create an email, send it off. Then it would grab row two, create an email, send it off. So that's kind of what we're going to be looking at today in this example. What I have here are three items. We have name, age, background, and then interests. So this is sort of like a profile. As you can see here, we have a list of interests. We've got our list here. It's collapsible. We talked about data types earlier in this course. But we have, the name, the age, the background. And what we're going to be doing with this information, because we have three different profiles, we're basically just going to be feeding them each into a node that's going to pretty much just like write them a little profile based on this information. So this could have, let's say this was a form response, and then we're just going to send it off as an email to the internal team saying, hey, here's a new lead. This is, some information about them. So first thing to note is that there are three items here. You're not going to loop through something if it's just one item, even if you have, multiple fields. Even if there's like, right here we have four fields and you may think, oh, I'm going to loop through name, then age, then background. That's not how it works. We're looking at how many items we have, which in this case is how many rows we have, because that's what the loop node is going to do, is take each row. And you can choose how many to do at a time. Typically, it's just going to be one. I've got a few examples on what this loop looks like. So one really cool example was the scraping from Google Maps. I did this on a YouTube video called like Scrape Unlimited Leads from Google Maps, or Unlimited Emails for free. You can check out that one. Also, one thing that can be pretty cool is if you look at the continue on error setting video within this sort of classroom section of building AI agents. I think it's under the section that's called like probably good things to know. Look at the continue on error setting video where you'll see I looped through different URLs to scrape, and then we can see what happens if some of them fail, if one or two of them fail, but then it would continue to go down, rather than if you were sending 500 requests over and one of them failed. I think it kind of just break your workflow. So that was 3 minutes of me rambling before we even get a loop node in here. Let's finally just throw one in here. So we've got our loop node, and then on the left, we can see the items that we're going to be looping through. The batch size we're going to keep as one, and the properties we are not going to play with. Reset, what this is going to do is just whether the node will be reset. And so with the current input data newly initialized. So we don't touch that. This node's really simple to set up because it's just going to be taken one at a time. We have to delete this replace me thing, and then we have to also delete this loop. I don't know why they even throw that in there, but we have a done branch and a loop branch. So it's going to take the first item, it's going to loop it through whatever logic that we set up, and then it's going to output it on the done side. So we'll take a look at all this. But first, what we want to do is I'm just going to be using an OpenAI message and model node. We're going to just call this one like write profile. So we're writing a profile about this lead coming in. We are going to just use 4.0 mini in this case because it should be pretty simple. Let's see. Where is it? Okay, there it is. And then I'm just going to be throwing in a system message here. So one thing that's kind of annoying about the loop node is when we run this, like it's going to grab this first one and then go here. And so now we can see this information coming through. It's just that first item. But sometimes when you're testing with the loop node, it's going to be annoying because like data doesn't always get stored in here. Maybe with the new 1.77 update, it does. So this looks like maybe it's a little better. But just keep in mind, sometimes when you're trying to reference variables down the line coming from a loop, it may be a little annoying. But anyways, it looks like right now we have it here to play with. We're going to change this to an expression, and we're just going to be feeding in this node how to act. So let's see. What do we want to say here? We're going to say you are in charge of incoming leads. Your goal is to create a lead profile for the incoming person. Here is information on an incoming person. So then we're going to basically say, okay, here's their name. We'll drag in the name, age, drag in the age. And then for background, and if I can spell that correctly, we will just drag in background as well. Okay, so we have Alex Carter, 28, and software engineer with a passion for automation and AI. And then we also need to add in the interest. So let's throw an interest here. And then this is a list. So what we could do is if we drag in this, we can see it's going to just separate them by commas. We could come in here and do individual ones and like sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like kind of structure it. But then the issue here is that this is going to be referencing JSON interest 0, 1, and 2, which is the list of 3 items. And if someone is coming through with 4 interests, it's not going to have that 4th one pulled in. So we're just going to be referencing the list here. It should work. And now what we need to say is output the following parameters separately. You know, we could do this using an AI agent. And then in that case, we'd be able to use the Gmail tool and use from AI functions to do this part. But I'm showing you how we would do this if it's like a linear flow. We're not using the Gmail as a tool node. We're going to be using the Gmail send email tool. It's a little different. So we'll take a look at this, right? So I'll put the following parameters separately. We have email subject, which is going to be the subject for the email. And then we have email body, which is the email content. And so one more thing we want to do is you're in charge of incoming leads. Your goal is to create a lead profile for the incoming person, then creating an email about this lead to send to the team. Okay. So here's what we've got. It's going to be taking this information about Alex Carter, sending it off, and what we need to do is output it as JSON. So I'll show you guys why in a sec. We're hitting test step. It's going to be taking this information and creating that email body and subject. So as you can see right here, we've got email subject and email body. So we think we're looking good, right? Wrong. That was so cheesy. Okay, anyways, we're going to go to send email, and we're going to do send a message. So this one looks the same, but it's not the same because in the Gmail tool, when we can come in here and do from AI, we can, I guess you could, but in this case, it's probably going to be easier to actually just be able to drag in the content and the, what's it called? The message. So that's what we're going to be doing here. Rather than from AI, I suppose this would work. So I think that they changed this in one of the updates. So you could ignore me here, but this is also a good thing to understand because it'll just help you understand the message and model node a little bit better with like kind of structuring the output rather than the way you would have an agent and then you'd have to add an output like a structured parser. But here we can structure the output by using JSON. So let's say for here, we just want this to be fixed. So here we have an email that's fixed. Then the subject and the message are going to be dynamic based on the actual profile, right? So we want to just basically pull this part into the subject, which is new lead profile Alex Carter. And we can't do that here because if we wanted to pull that in, it's going to pull all the content, as you can see. So that's why we're going to go back here. We're going to click output as JSON. And now those two parameters are going to be output separately like we asked for it to do right here in the system message. So now we have email subject, email body within the content. So those separate parameters, we can go ahead and come back in here and pull in the email subject there and pull in the email body there. And this is what the email would look like. So team, I'd like to introduce you to our new lead, Alex Carter. We've got here information, best your name. And if we hit test step, that would send off. But now that's going to be pretty much the end of the process. So what we want to do is loop this back in. And then, we'll just test this. We'll just test this out. So it's going to send. It just sent the message, and then we have this in. Well, we'll come in the done branch, and then we can decide over here what we want to do with those done leads. So there would be different logic coming over this way, right? So anyways, let's just pretty much hit test workflow and we'll watch this happen. So there goes Alex Carter, one item, as you can see. One item came through, just got wrote, sent off. Now the second one's coming through. It's writing it right now, got sent off. Third one's coming through, writing the profile and sending off the email right about now. And then we have 3 items in the done branch, which we really don't because we didn't set anything here. But in the done branch of the loop node, we can see we have one item that shows what happens to all of them at the end. But then if we wanted to individually look at the first one, we would see, like what came through, which was Jamie in the second one and then Chris in the third one. So this is the output basically from the Gmail node, which just shows us the IDs of each email. And then it tells us that it was sent unread in our inbox. And then from here, we could do something else with it because it's coming out of the done branch of that loop node. So like I said, that's going to be it. Now, just one thing I wanted to test out real quick is if we turn this back, let's get rid of all that. So this is the way that we would do this in an AI agent basically is we'd have it just pretty much make a query. So this one should just be writing an email for us. Okay, there we go. So now we have an email. And then what I want to test out is actually being able to use the from AI functions in these nodes, which I think is just a new function because I remember when from AI I first found out about it, it wasn't in these tools. It was only in the AI agent tools as nodes. So this could be really cool. So let's just try it real quick. This is going to be subject, and then we're just going to copy this down below and then call this one email body. We'll just hit test step and see what it fills in here. Cannot read properties of undefined. Let's just try testing it. So that's my worry is that that's why I wanted to output it as JSON. No execution data available. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense. I was thinking maybe it could grab this content, read it, understand it, and then from that use AI to create a subject and an email body, like the way it does for an AI agent. But I guess not. So that's why we wanted to do it where we output content as JSON. We have the different parameters that we can drag and drop in really easily. So I guess this video went over. We reached out a little farther than just talking about loops, but hopefully that little sort of live build was helpful and you guys learned something. So thanks, guys.